Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. Today, I'm sure you guys, most of you knew that this video was going to be coming. We are going to be talking about the LCS drama that is currently going on right now surrounding the change or potential change or, total removal of the current import rule. And I guess this isn't really for the LCS. They're trying to do this across the world because all the leagues do run by the same rule set. So removing the import rule in the LCS would mean removing it everywhere. That's what the LCS owners are asking Riot to do. I've already made a video talking about the import rule before, giving my thoughts and opinions and everything. But today, we're going to be talking about it because last night on Twitter, there was just so many bangers, so many hot takes being thrown around. LCS players, LCS casters and stuff getting in on it, teams, owners making fools of themselves. There's so many hilarious, awesome moments and tweets, statements from people. There's just so much to talk about. So in this video today, we're going to be covering all the latest juicy drama surrounding just the discussion of whether or not the import rule should be changed. But before we get into that, I just want to mention real quick, if you have not already, definitely take a second and smash that like button. I would appreciate it so much. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm, helping my channel and my content continue to grow and grow, be seen by more people. It's one of the best and easiest ways to help support me if that's something you're interested in doing. Also, subscribe to stay updated on my latest content. We have a ton of awesome videos coming out in the near future, and you don't want to miss any of those. So subscribe. Works out for both of us. With that being said, let's get right into this. I want to start out by reading this tweet from the esports writer, Fion on Fire. I thought he had a very good tweet that I pretty much agree with top to bottom. So, he tweeted out, the year is 2025. LCS has abolished the import rule. Teams buy Korean Academy teams on the cheap. Now, I don't know if that's exactly what would happen, but, that's pretty much what removing the import rule would be trying to do. Because at this point, we're already getting a lot of the top European players that would be coming over. What they would be trying to do here is essentially trying to snatch up all the young or cheap or inexperienced or guys who just can't crack into the top of the LCK or the LPL. So we would essentially be getting Korean Academy teams, or Chinese Academy teams or whatever, but it wouldn't necessarily be Academy. It would maybe even be middle of the pack LCK or LPL teams, when LMQ came over here before. I believe they were 9th in the LPL, I think is what someone was saying. So, it wouldn't have to be Academy. It could be low to mid tier LPL or LCK, but this is essentially what would start happening. You would see on bad teams and the bad players and stuff, instead of being NA players, they would just be phased out for the bad LCK or LPL players. Yes, people would argue that is better than NA players, and they're probably right, but this is what would happen. A few orgs would thrive, majority would lose all fan engagement, and continue sucking. I agree with this so much. That's a big thing. Right now, the NA players not being very good is a problem. Our solo queue sucks. We have a small player base. Our NA players have not been that good. That is a problem as well. But what a lot of the owners and teams and stuff don't want to admit is that also the infrastructure, the team environments, the management, the coaching stats, the decisions of the higher ups have all been terrible throughout this process as well. And those are all contributing factors, maybe even more so contributing than just a lot of the things as far as NA talent. So yes, you can bring over better players, and you're not necessarily going to see better results, but you will see an overall decline in fan engagement, overall viewership. At a time when LCS viewership right now is already declining, you are going to continue to see a drop in viewership, a drop in fan engagement, loss of money from sponsors and all that. And people can argue, oh, well, don't you just want to see the best players or the best teams or whatever? No. If we wanted to just watch whatever was the best or whatever, LCK's already out there. LPL's already out there. This wouldn't make LCS the best. It would maybe make them marginally better, but maybe not even. And also, at the end of the day, these teams, this league, this organization, esports in general, it is entertainment. And it is a business. They're trying to make money, and they're trying to entertain people so they can get as many eyeballs on them as possible. That does not always necessarily mean making decisions only focus on winning, only focus on trying to get better results. But again, there's an argument to be made that these would not even equal better results also. He says the TCS has become the most watched LOL tournament in NA. There's already a fact that, if Tyler 1 did a couple things different, obviously the pandemic's not helping him. I know he was talking about wanting to get into a studio, wanting to take the TCS to the next level. We could potentially live in a world where the TCS, in a few years, is getting more viewership than the LCS, and that would be absolutely sad, but it's crazy. And the big point here, NA still fails to make top 8 at Worlds. That is something I think people are really overlooking. Look at the past few years. NA has been importing more than ever before. Has that led to any better result? Has that led to more successful teams? No. NA has not gotten out of groups at Worlds in the last 2, maybe 3 years, or in the last 3 years have we had one team get out of groups at Worlds, and that's with more imports than the league has ever seen before. Now we have teams at the top. TSM, 4 imports. Team Liquid, 4 imports. I believe Evil Geniuses is 4 imports as well, and maybe one other team, 100 Thieves, more imports as well. Are these teams any more likely or expected to go on and do any better at Worlds this year? Maybe Team Liquid. The other teams still have a ton of question marks. And also, on those teams, for how many of those teams is the one North American player holding them back? Like, Team Liquid, is Tactical, the reason that they're going to maybe not do well internationally this year? Maybe. I mean, it's possible to upgrade him, but would a mid-pack LPL AD carry or a mid-tier LCK AD carry necessarily be better than Tactical? Like, I don't think so. On TSM, would a middle-of-the-pack LCK or LPL jungler necessarily be better than Spica? I don't think so. I don't think that's what's holding TSM back from potentially getting out of groups at Worlds or something like that. So I just think it's really, really weird. I also love what he says here. He goes on to make some really, really good points. He says, I can see the advantage for some LCS teams. No important rule. There's still going to be shit teams like in every sport. If you're a poorly run franchise now, odds are you're still going to be poorly ran, regardless if you can sign an entire Korean org and repackage it. Completely agree. And his biggest point here, but who really knows? StarCraft 2 and Overwatch are thriving right now, so maybe LCS will do the same. History has already showed you, and like, the owners are just not seeing it, and so many of you guys are not seeing it as well. This stuff has already happened. We've already had successful esports leagues, StarCraft, Overwatch, be overrun by over-importing, and it kills fan engagement. It kills viewership. It kills fan interest. Again, yes, you could say, oh, I would like to see the LCS do better. Okay, well, once all these teams are full imports, let's see if you continue watching. Let's see if you continue caring. Let's see if you care more, or if the LCS would still be the 4th best league. It's not like we would pass LEC all of a sudden. It's not like we'd pass LCK, not like we'd pass LPL, because also all these other regions would have no import restrictions as well. So, like, yes, maybe NA has a little bit more money than the LEC or than the LCK. They don't have more money than the LPL. The LPL is still going to be getting all the best imports. They still have all the best native players. This is not going to all of a sudden level the playing field for NA to become like the best region in the world, for us to be any more competitive than we already are. That is going to need infrastructure changes, development changes, coaching changes, overall, like solo queue changes, and just so many different things going on. Just so many weird takes. And yes, a lot of the owners are obviously pushing for the removal of this rule, but there are some that are not. I love this quote of Travis Gafford talking to the Golden Guardians head of esports, Hunter Lee. He says, import rule conversations are part of the LCS's cycle of suck. Does not believe that lifting the rule will lead to success, but believes it merits discussion. Totally fair. Yes, I think anything should be able to be discussed. And yeah, discussion's always great. There's 2 sides to every story. That's awesome. But yes, absolutely, I agree with him here that it does further the LCS's cycle of suck. It doesn't change or fix any of the underlying issues. It's just a band-aid fix that over a short term, maybe 1-2 years, yeah, maybe the LCS could get a little bit better. Maybe they'd have a little bit better results. But in the medium to long term, I think it would absolutely kill the league. I'm not the only one who feels this way. There's tons of other people, and I think it's very, very fair. Also, we had I Will Dominate saying, it's crazy that there's this much controversy about the import rule. Whether removed or not, wake up and try to live in reality. There are only 6 NA players on the top 5 teams in the league. We are already practically a full import league. And then I responded to him, there is absolutely a difference between someone having to spend 3 years here, which is, I believe, the average time it takes to get a green card and become a resident. Some people, it takes even longer than that, and get a green card versus someone just showing up from another region. If somebody has to play and live here in North America, in our society, in our cities, in our towns, in our world, and just, kind of, grow up and become acclimated to North American culture and life here and everything, and the fans get to see them for 3 years and get to know them. They probably start to learn English more. They probably start to just become a part of our culture and everything. That is totally different than just bringing over a full Chinese team who maybe doesn't even speak the language, maybe doesn't even care about North America at all, maybe doesn't even want to be here. They're just collecting checks, trying to play, whatever. Like, we've already seen this happen with LMQ a couple years ago. So all you guys saying that you just want to see higher level play or whatever, that full import teams are good, How many of you were fans of LMQ? How many of you watched more LMQ games that year? How many of you, were really rooting for LMQ to do well that year? And then also, they didn't make it out of groups at Worlds. The one team of 5 imports we've had in the LCS didn't make it out of groups at Worlds. So, we have so much history and so much, we have other leagues compared to, other esports, other games. We have in our own ecosystem of the LCS, so many things to go back on that shows at least pretty clearly to me that the import rule needs to stay. If anything, I would be in favor of it becoming more strict, but I do think it's absolutely fine with the green card rules that are in place, because again, if somebody does have to live here and just pretty much live here and become, with all intents and purposes, an American citizen, or at least, go through the regular immigration process, that is way more a resident, in my opinion, in the opinion of very many other Americans, North Americans, people over here, than somebody just coming over here and being on equal footing from day one. That's not really how it's supposed to work, and that is really, really weird. But the biggest tweet out of this whole thing, which is absolutely hilarious, Vulcan, a guy who I've kind of been critical of in the past. I've definitely underrated him, but man, I'm starting to love him more and more. One, he's an absolute beast. Like, I was for sure wrong about him. He is just world class, in my opinion, and I love that he speaks his mind and stands up for what he believes in, because obviously when his owner is one of the guys saying that the import rule needs to go and he's able to tweet something like this out, and there have been other players as well, Santorin coming out, and different players actually sharing their opinions, which is very, very brave, because it could hurt their careers. If the owners decide to blackball them or something, they could be in trouble. But he says, if you want a full import team, go buy a team in that region. Full damn one team comes to NA, plays on 60 ping the whole year. Do they beat the top LPL team? They don't, XD, which I completely agree with. Like, yes, there is so many things that goes into this whole equation. It's not as simple as just importing some more players. We've seen that in the past. We have imported players. We have imported more and more and more and more and more. And if anything, our results have gotten worse. Like, maybe our results have stagnated at best, but our results are getting worse. We did not have a team get out of groups at Worlds last year. We did not have a team get out of groups at Worlds the year before. Yes, none of those teams were 5 imports, and you can make the argument, oh, maybe if they had 1 more import or 2 more imports or whatever. But more imports so far has not led to better results. The most hilarious tweet of this whole thing comes from Regi, who says, ignorant tweet. If every LCS team left the LCS, you'll be out of a job, buddy, and probably paid minimum. And Vulcan had this awesome response. He's saying, you'd say I'd work at McDonald's, man. Absolutely hilarious. This is a terrible tweet by Regi. I'm a TSM fan. I've supported them for a long time. But when they say stupid shit like this, it makes it so hard to support them. It makes it even hard to support the LCS right now when you have all of these owners being so dumb, so greedy, so short-sighted. Because it's all about financials in the end for them. They have been the ones to inflate the players' salaries, and they're paying the prices for this now, and now they are wanting to get bailed out of that. Rather than fixing the issues at hand. Also, they're saying, hey, we want to remove the import rule, but we also want to build up North American talent. That does not even make sense. If you start importing more and more and more, that's going to bump the guys who are in the LCS right now down to the academy. That's going to kick the academy guys out. That's going to make the guys who are playing solo queue and grinding right now, they're going to be moved down even a pedestal or a peg. They're going to stop playing completely. Solo queue is going to become even more of a joke when native NA players who are up and coming and hopeful and excited about the future and their prospects, it's already insanely difficult for a North American player to make it in the LCS, to become a professional League of Legends player. If you make that even more difficult, solo queue is going to get worse. The environment's going to get worse. The game is going to become less popular, less played, less exciting, and people are going to care about it less. And it is ultimately, in the end, going to be a horrible business decision and potentially going to kill the future of the league. And thankfully, a lot of people came out in support of Vulcan here. Captain Flowers comes out, Carlos with a banger tweet, Dominates backing him up, Dash, Ender. Everyone's coming out in full force because they know how dumb of a tweet this was from Regi. And then he went like psycho. He just started going crazy. Imports are cool. I love imports. Imports. Like, he would actually seemed like he was having like a breakdown or something. I don't know. Something really, really weird was going on. This is very unprofessional and really, really just disgusting to see from a guy in his position. And there have been some other LCS teams and owners who have said some weird stuff as well. Jack, I know, had some messages like calling people racist because they don't want imports or something, which, again, that's absolutely not what it is. It's not... Korean players are fine. if they want to come over here, show us that they actually care about North America, live here for 3, 4, whatever years. Like, you know, there's been people who have become residents from being over here. We just don't want people coming straight from Korea, taking opportunities and stuff from other people to the detriment of the league. You know, if it would be better for everybody, you know, then maybe it's a conversation. But in the end, it would just not be pretty. And I think I'm glad that a lot of people are seeing that. Fans are seeing that. Content creators are saying that. There is still a very, I think, vocal minority that is still in defense of this, saying, oh, we just want to see the best players play, blah, 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 blah. And again, I don't even believe this would be having the best players play, but also we've had this before, and you didn't support it, and you didn't like it, and there's already better teams and leagues out there, which you are fully able to go watch, support, whatever you want, and you choose not to. You know, we want to see not just North American players, but we want to see the organizations, the people we know, the people we love, the people we support, do well. And again, League of Legends is in its infancy. When you look at something like basketball, football, soccer, hundreds of years. So right now, the fact that NA has sucked for, 8, 9, 10 years, that is really just a blip in the radar in the timeline of what League of Legends could be. And if we get the proper infrastructure, development, coaching staff, academy scene, everything in place, we could absolutely become better over time and get to the level of like a China or a Korea or a Europe. It's not like that is impossible, but we're simply giving up, looking for Band-Aid fixes, and doing things that are very, very short-sighted and against the overall betterment of the league, the businesses, the fans, everybody in the long term. It's pretty sad. Pretty disgusting to see. And again, just right now, it's really making it difficult to kind of root for any of these LCS teams, to root for any of these owners, to support any of these organizations. And it's really taken all the fun out of it when I have been a massive, massive, massive supporter of the LCS for the last 5, 6, 7 years of my life. So this does suck to see, but again, I love that people are coming out in defense of it. Definitely speak up for what you believe in. I think GBay99 also had an awesome video talking about all this stuff. So if you guys want somebody else's take, somebody else's opinion on this, I pretty much agree with every single word he had to say in that video. So I would definitely go check that out. Again, I'm glad other people are speaking out about this because if we do not show our opinions and let our voices be heard, the owners are going to get their way, and they're not going to help support NA talent. They're not going to help support the NA infrastructure. The league is going to become something that we don't even recognize in a few years, and then for all intents and purposes, North American League of Legends will be destroyed. Essentially, it is really what I believe would happen. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you enjoyed it. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm. I would appreciate it so much. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about this whole situation? Are you in favor of removing the import rule? Do you want it to stay? Why or why not? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to stay up to date on my latest content. Hopefully I catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace!